Hello and welcome to Network. My name is Pumela Lezundi with your technology and social media news. SABC Network now, that's on Facebook, X and Instagram. newsnetwork@sabc.co.za on email. This week our Expo is asking you if you were impacted at all by the Microsoft outage that impacted various parts of the world, but mainly South Africa and Britain. Results of that Expo are coming up later in the program. Here's what's coming up in this particular episode. Wikipedia says they want more involvement of women in the content that we see over there. We chat about a startup called Drive. They are in the e-hailing space. And in our conversation, we chat about cybersecurity and possible cyber hacks as we head to the elections. We generally view the world through the content that is available online, and therefore it's important to diversify who the creators and contributors to that content are. That's why Wikipedia says they're looking for more women.
Wikipedia needs more women. At a moment where artificial intelligence is blowing up across the world, we recognize that this artificial intelligence and many of the large language models that exist, like Siri or OK Google, rely on Wikipedia as the free, open access encyclopedia that it is. Now, if there's a disparity in content that is about women, that is of interest to women, then all of this technology that is being rolled out, built on these models, will also be unequal. And what we really want to support is creating the kind of society where access to free knowledge is access to knowledge that everyone should care about. Women make up roughly half of the world's population and are visible and present in so many spaces in science, technology, medicine, arts, literature. We really need more women to be able to help us close the gender gap on Wikipedia and to be able to have an encyclopedia that represents the whole world. I think part of the reasons that we see such low numbers of participation of women on Wikipedia and other digital spaces is because of the structural issues that exist in the world. So lack of access to internet, lack of time to contribute in volunteer capacity. And also we know, like just historically speaking, and even in present day, the nature of gender inequality means that there's always been a disparity between the recognition of the work that women do in society and the work that men do in society. But we also recognize that there is a very prevalent gender gap, which is currently sitting at roughly 19 to 20% of biographies, for example, are about women. In the South African case, 22% of articles are about notable people are about women. And we know, as South Africans active in the knowledge-making space, in the media space, that there are so much more women who are doing meaningful work that is notable, that needs to be documented, not just for South African populations, but for this generation, the next generation, and populations around the world using the internet.
The e-hailing space is growing in South Africa, and this is because of many public transport woes. Let's take a look at Drive. They are a service that's new to this space.
E-hailing, one of the fastest growing businesses globally, and especially here in South Africa. I'm Lloyd Valentine, COO of Drive, e-hailing and IT technologies. So Drive Anywhere, Anytime is a new e-hailing company that is established right here in South Africa, Johannesburg, and we are a triple BE company here to service you. One of the biggest scourges in South Africa is crime, and crime is prominent in the e-hailing sector. People are being murdered, people are being killed, people's cars are being hijacked, and that is where we want to change the narrative of e-hailing, because we bring safety, and you are the one that we want to protect. So safety is number one priority in the e-hailing sector. And let me explain a little bit, how are we going to do this thing? And we know how e-hailing works, right? You request a car, someone comes, picks you up and takes you to the mall, school, work, wherever you want to go. And you don't normally know who picks you up. You always see someone's picture and you don't know whether you're going to get to the right place. We bring technology into the industry with AI cameras, funeral policies, all those benefits that we are bringing to the system of e-hailing, the narrative is now going to change. So we're going to give you 5 benefits that's going to be free, especially for the driver in South Africa. One of them is a dual camera system that gives you 180-degree front view, 180-degree in-cab view, a funeral policy for the driver, his wife, and 3 kids, a medical insurance to the value of 250,000 Rand per month. We have 2 panic buttons that we fit in the car. Unfortunately, I cannot tell you where it is. That's up to the fleet owner and the driver to know. Then we have roadside assistance. This is tremendously important for the user and the rider, because we know that the criminal aspect in South Africa has shot through the roof and people want to feel safe. And this is what we're bringing. Safety is the primary concern of Drive. The other thing we're bringing for the riders is that we've got rewards programs such as utility outlets, shopping for clothes, shopping for groceries. Rewards programs is huge when it comes to Drive. So Drive is here to make a difference because we care for you. So why don't you download the app right now? You will find us on the Play Store and on the iStore. And in a minute, we will have the Huawei Play Store ready for you to download.
There are a lot of people who might say they're looking for the fancy device that costs tens of thousands of Rand. But in the state of the economy, that entry-level smartphone might also be a good idea, which is where Mobel often says they come in.
South Africa has a long history of unknown mobile brands that start off catering for entry-level smartphone users, briefly threaten to challenge the big names like Samsung and Huawei, and quickly disappear. 6 years ago, AG Mobile was the big story in local branding. It had sold millions of feature phones and low-cost smartphones through mass-market retail chains such as Jet and Pep. Overnight, the business collapsed as sales failed to keep up with the heady pace of imports. Mara Smartphones went down after only 9 months in business, citing financial problems and a lack of uptake in its products. Industry players say this can be attributed to a convergence of economic factors such as softening customer demand and inflation.
Let's do the math. I mean, if you want to spend 30,000 Rand on a phone, assuming you're going to buy it over contracts, probably around 1,200 Rand a month, what would you have? Would you have rather a grocery budget of 1,200 Rand or spend 1,200 Rand on a phone? Obviously, it depends on individuals and households where their priorities lie. But at the moment, and I did a story in this week with regards to smartphone sales, smartphone shipments, they've declined significantly across the world, and that is a sign, and one of the reasons they cited is that people are spending more on groceries and household items.
Meanwhile, a decade-old South African brand Mobel has been replicating AG's success at the entry level successfully.
We've done so much in terms of digitizing South Africa, and a lot of people have thought the brand's actually international. So in terms of a background, the brand's 20 years old. Mobel started a long time ago when smartphones were not around, and we've been striving to digitize South Africa for a long time now. So I think part of this event today is to launch the IX series, the event to show how far we've come in terms of product. But I think it's also, the big statement is, who is Mobel? And I think a lot of people, I mean, there's not a person that doesn't know the brand, but they don't actually know what is Mobel.
Upon launching the brand in 2007, the smartphone market was saturated with important devices far out of the financial reach of the average South African. Identifying a gap in the market for an affordable cellular brand, Mobel was determined to bring accessible mobile connectivity to that market.
So I think our target holding is the South African consumer that can't achieve affordable communication. So there's a lot of these mediums of affordable communication, but the hardware itself is inaccessible to the average consumer. You look at these price tags of the international brands that are 20 and 30,000 rand for a product, which is well and good that it's there and it's so beautiful and it's marketed so well, but how many people can actually access this? And that's where Mobicells come in to say, we get the latest and the greatest technology. We work together with the biggest companies like Google, where we are strategic players for them in South Africa in terms of bringing the user interface, so the consumer not only has an affordable product, but he has the user experience.
Mobicel says it is launching its latest affordable devices that will cater to the average man on the streets.
So the product we're launching today is the iX series. It's a first for us in terms of a look and feel, in terms of product capability. The product has high-end camera, high-definition cameras, huge memory, 128 gig memory, fast charging, NFC for your credit card payment, and the price tag's actually very affordable. So you would have all of this and starting off at a 1499 to a 1999 price point, which I think from a spec perspective, I think it's unmatched.
The device garnered praise from all attending the event, attesting to its power and functionality.
Listen, for me, the camera is the first thing. I need the filter to hide my mistakes, but more than that, in user friendliness, it needs to be something that I can use and that's intuitive to me and that learns how I do things and then is responsive to me now as a person and not to everyone else. So that's what I'm looking for. And also just being able to pair with multiple devices, because laptop, tablets, it must be able to sync with everything, creating a sort of one-stop shop for yonke thing for my business and for my personal life.
First, camera quality, because I'm a content creator, so I use my camera a lot. Camera quality is important. I need it to be fast. I don't need it when I'm using it. It needs to be efficient. And also, if I can get all my editing apps on it, if the software is compatible with my editing apps, that is perfect for me.
The camera quality. That's number one. Well, number two is the battery life, obviously, because as a content creator, you use the phone the whole day. So you obviously need a phone that's going to last, the battery is going to last the whole day.
While high-end Android devices may come with all the bells and whistles, consumers say they are willing to temper their expectations as long as they can get a great phone for a lot less.
Mobicel has been one of those brands that took the market in terms of being able to reach the entry-level market, if you will, and also people who are looking for slightly much more smartphone and much more functionality. The ability to have cross-board devices makes them the choice for most people who are wanting to buy a cell phone that has the functionality they require without breaking the bank.
I think they've rebranded themselves outside of the narrative that people have about the phone. I think they're now becoming more topical in terms of the climate that we live in. There's a lot of content creators, there's a lot of tech-savvy people. Their software needs to be compatible with a lot of apps that young people use. So I think that it would be able to do that.
Those in the industry say brands like Mobicel have managed to incorporate global technological trends such as accessibility, connectivity, and design into a price-competitive package affordable for all in the local smartphone market.
It's SABC Network on Facebook, X, and Instagram. After the break, we chat about possible hacks that might happen as we go to the elections. SABC Network on Facebook, X, and Instagram. Use network at sabc.co.za on email. Welcome back. We live in an era of digital technologies, and here on Network, we've told you that there are guidelines that we need to adhere by, especially when it comes to the run-up of elections and how we engage with each other around issues of politics and elections. But another aspect of this that we need to be careful of is cybersecurity, and organizations involved in running elections and those that are participating in elections as well possibly need to figure out how they can beef up their cybersecurity. To talk to us more about this is Shaimamba Tongo. He is with Checkpoint Software Technologies. Hello, and thank you very much for being a part of our network, Shaimamba Tongo. Maybe if you can start by telling us the importance of beefing up cybersecurity.
We've seen in the past couple of years, especially since the pandemic, there definitely has been an increase, in the number of attacks, cyber attacks, within the different industries, whether it's, public sector or the private sector. Nowadays, there essentially is no discrimination in terms of which sector is a prime, target.
And what kind of attacks will they be, do you think, Shaimamba?
You'll find there are also especially a number of several reasons why cyber attacks, tend to increase, especially in the run-up to elections. Just to name a few. One, for example, you've got political motivation. This is whereby hackers may target election-related systems in order to disrupt the democratic process, also influence public opinion, or essentially undermine trust in the electoral system. Another, reason could be disinformation campaigns, whereby these cyber attacks often accompany disinformation campaigns aimed at spreading false information about candidates, parties, or even the electoral process itself. And at times, lastly, we're looking at financial gain. Some cyber attacks targeting election-related systems may be motivated by financial gain, such as ransomware attacks, or stealing sensitive information for blackmail or extortion purposes. So essentially, overall, the combination of heightened political tensions, increased attention on election-related systems, and potential vulnerabilities make the run-up to elections a prime target for cyber attacks.
Which organizations do you think need to look out for these cyber attacks? Is it everybody that's involved in elections?
Cyber vulnerabilities are a pressing issue across various sectors, but the public sector stands out due to its unique challenges, with typically fewer resources allocated for cybersecurity compared to the private sector. Combined with a significant skill shortage, public sector entities often find their defenses lagging. Now, as cyber threats continue to evolve, the need for enhanced security measures and skilled personnel in all sectors, both private and public, becomes increasingly critical to protect sensitive information and maintain public trust. Now, these organizations are often targeted because of their role in the electoral process. Now, the sensitive information they handle and the potential to influence public opinion or the outcome of the elections. Now, protecting their systems and data is crucial to ensure the integrity and security of the electoral process.
Do you then think things will get better after elections?
The conclusion of elections might shift the immediate focus of cyber threats, moving away from politically motivated attacks to a broader, more financially driven cybercrime activities. However, it's important to understand that the underlying threat environment doesn't necessarily become better post-elections. In fact, the landscape of cyber threats it's ever evolving, driven by the continuous advancements in technology and the increasing sophistication of cyber criminals. Now, ransomware attacks, for example, have become a lucrative business model for cyber criminals. Now, these actors exploit vulnerabilities in information systems for financial gain, targeting both public and private sector entities without any discrimination.
How can everybody be adequately prepared? AI tools, maybe?
Now, employing generative AI and automated investigation and remediation tools, now these can significantly enhance an organization's ability to quickly identify and essentially neutralize sophisticated attacks. Now, this comprehensive strategy, combining advanced technology and collaboration, is key to building resilient cyber defenses.
All right, Shaima Bathong, well, thank you very much for being a part of our network. Shaima Bathong there is with Checkpoint Software Technologies. And with that, it's SABC Network on Facebook, X, and Instagram. Stay with us. SABC Network on Facebook, X, and Instagram. Welcome back. Here's what else took place in the rest of the world in the tech space.
The world's most prominent artificial intelligence company, OpenAI, announced that its chief executive, Sam Altman, would be returning to the ChatGPT Makers Board along with 3 new directors. An investigation into the events surrounding the November firing of Altman also has concluded, and the company has created new governance rules, including strengthening its conflict of interest policy. Employees, investors, and OpenAI's biggest financial backer, Microsoft, had expressed shock over Altman's removal, which was reversed within days. His return led to discussions about how OpenAI would be governed, and the company announced a reconstituted board that did not include Altman. Still in the USA, lawmakers, TikTok creators, and supporters argued against a potential ban on TikTok in Washington, D.C. on Tuesday, March 12th.
Any ban on TikTok is not just banning the freedom of expression. You are literally causing huge harm to our national economy. We have small business owners that are here and small business owners from across the country that use TikTok to move our economy forward.
TikTok, which says it has not and would not share US user data with the Chinese government, argues the House bill amounts to a ban. It was unclear if China would approve any sale or if TikTok could be divested in 6 months. President Joe Biden said last week he would sign the bill, but the app is popular in getting legislation approved by both the House and Senate in an election year may be difficult. And now in Switzerland. Scientists in the European country are using robots to bring on hallucinations in people with Parkinson's disease in a bid to help design better therapies.
So in a nutshell, this project consists really of 3 parts. One is the induction of under safe conditions of a very specific hallucinatory state. The second part is to measure this quite precisely with repeated measurements using virtual reality, which overcomes previous verbal reports, which have many shortcomings. And then the third part is we can extend this technology to the home of patients, to other clinics, and also to other research centers. So these are really the 3, in a nutshell, the 3 main components: the induction, the measurement, and the ubiquity of our approach.
This innovation approach offers a novel way to understand and diagnose hallucinations associated with diseases like Parkinson's.
Much of the internet was down a couple of days ago, and this is because of an undersea cable, so says Microsoft, and they say that there was damage to that cable. Now, with those parts of the internet being down, many people couldn't do their work and they couldn't connect. This week, our Expo is asking you if you were impacted. That's it. That's all we have for you. Find us on SABC Network on Facebook, X, and Instagram. It is News Network at sabc.co.za on email. From me, it's Pumela Lezondi and the rest of the network team. Have a good one. Bye-bye.